Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Basketball Conference, the ACC Football Podcast. My name is Joey Weaver. He's Mike McDaniel. Mike, final recap of the season. We have a national champion. It is the Indiana Hoosiers. The ACC's Miami Hurricanes come up just a hair short, kind of like that Carson Beck pass at the end of the game. How you doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, don't look at our records all year long, but that is a dub. For a lock.
We nailed that one.
That is a lock dub, and that is a lock dub for Joey as well, hitting the over somehow, some way. Because I'll tell you what, Joey, a couple different bets look pretty dead in the first half. Miami plus sure 8.5 and the total both look dead. They both come home.
They do.
Miami, I mean, we'll get into this. I don't even know. I mean, they have the ball with 2 minutes left, and I'm writing my takeaways column for SI, thinking that I got several of them written, or around an Indiana win, and then all of a sudden Miami's crossing the 50. It's like, hold on a second, I'm going to stop writing.
Hang on,
I'm going to stop writing. Crazy game. I don't know. It was ended up being a very, very entertaining title game. I thought just. Big picture, I know we'll get into all the specifics here in a second, but just big picture, I thought Miami, with how hard offense looked in the first half, I think the adjustments at halftime, obviously you get a big play for your first score of the game from Fletcher, but I thought with how hard the offense was for Miami in the first half, to have the ball with less than 2 minutes to go, down 6 with an opportunity to go win the national title, I don't know what more you can ask for with how difficult it was for Miami's offense in the first half. That is like the takeaway. If I'm a Miami fan, I know this stings. This is a really tough loss, but with how things were looking in the first half, I thought even down 10-0, it was looking bleak.
I completely agree. Let's get into that here in just a minute. We'll start by saying we're live, youtube.com/@the-ACC Football Podcast. Got some folks in the chat with us. It is late. It is going on 12:30 on now Tuesday evening, I guess, on the East Coast. We're, I guess, a little over an hour maybe removed from the end of this game. Got to give some raw thoughts, just talk about this game. And then, as mentioned before, we'll come back and do some season awards and coaching news and lots of other things in a future episode here in the next week or so. So appreciate the folks for tuning in. Excited to talk about this game specifically tonight.
Thank you for everybody's patience, because
absolutely
had to wait for me. So thank you.
What else was I supposed to be doing at 12:30 on a Monday night? Anyways,
right. Yep.
As you mentioned, Mike, this kind of felt like two different games almost. I mean, the way that it went in the first half. First of all, credit to Miami's defense all night long, because as much as Indiana had a 10-0 lead at halftime, I mean, Indiana was not getting anything easy in this game. It didn't feel like. I mean, they did find some stuff in the run game, I think up the middle in particular at times, but Miami's defense made this very difficult for Indiana all night long, and for the most part did not really wear down as the game went on either. I didn't feel like from Miami's defense.
No.
Was very impressed.
No. Miami's defense played great. I mean, you're going to give up. Indiana's got great offense, Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. They're going to make plays. They have playmakers everywhere. Omar Cooper was really good. Charlie Becker. He made one of my takeaways in my story I wrote was he made himself a lot of money tonight. I mean, contested catch after contested catch, back shoulder throws by Mendoza. I mean, professional throws, professional catches. I mean, he made several of them.
Against really, 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 really close coverage.
Yes.
Clean, apparently.
Was getting hugged. They let him play tonight, man. I'll tell you. They let him play. It had to be real blatant to get called in most cases. In other cases, they didn't get called. Miami got away with a few of those in the first half, as Kurt Signetti let us know at halftime. For those of you watching at home. Yeah. I thought the defense for Miami played really well. I thought that they were going to wear down. They didn't. I think it's a testament to their conditioning. The fact that they were able to still play as well as they did. They kind of, to some extent, with the pass rush especially, the pass rush got better as the game went on somehow. The second half, Mesidor and Bain were a problem,
Mm-hmm.
a real problem.
Mm-hmm.
Miami's front, I thought all night was really disruptive. Like Indiana was having some trouble, especially early in the game, getting into a rhythm offensively. But I thought Mesidor and Bain certainly got better as the game went on. Defensively, they just really, really, really hung in there. Oh, there was another comment I wanted to make. You go ahead and talk.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing that sticks out to me is the comparison between the first half and the second half. And
Yeah.
the first half, we mentioned that offense extremely difficult for Miami in the first half. I mean, they got a bit of a chunk play on like the first play of the game.
Yeah.
I think they picked up a first down on the next snap, and then from there, 3 plays, punt, next drive 3 and out, next drive 3 and out, next drive 3 and out. Like they had 1 first down in the first 25 minutes of this game, basically. And then they get the ball, 9 plays, 37 yards, over 5.5 minutes, and they miss the field goal about 30 seconds before halftime. And at that point, I'm thinking to myself, and they're down 10-0. They have barely been able to move the ball whatsoever in the entire first half. And I'm thinking to myself, man, like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the game's over at that point, but like, you just gave it your best shot of the first half, and you couldn't even come away with 3. And man, I just was very concerned of what the second half was going to look like.
Yeah. Okay. So the 2 things I remember now. So, it was Bain, Mesidor, and Moten was unbelievable. Moten, especially in the first half, was blowing up everything in the middle of the defensive line. Like, Indiana couldn't block him. I mean, they couldn't block him. He was in the backfield consistently. 2 things, right? So I thought if Miami didn't pick up that first down, I think it was like 4th and 1 from their own 37-yard line with 4 minutes to go in the first half. And I thought if Mario didn't pick up that first, like he made the call for Miami to go for it, which balls out of your pocket, and I think he really would have been criticized for it.
I said in our Discord, I said that's somewhere between ballsy and reckless. Like
I thought that was the right call in that moment, and I know we were talking in the Discord, right call in that moment, because Miami was in a spot where their defense had been on the field at that point most of the first half. And it ended up being around 19 minutes to, I have pulled up the final count in the first half. It was 18:09 to 11:51 was the final count. But that's because Miami held the ball for like 3 or 4 minutes at the end of the first half. It was
after that conversion.
It was a slaughter in terms of time of possession. I came away, man, really, really impressed with how Miami was able to sustain that drive somehow after not really doing anything the entire first half. So you go for it there, balls out of your pocket. You've had no success all night to show for it to that point. You go for it. And then what I didn't understand, and Mario, people are going to gloss, Miami fans won't gloss over this, but I think the national media is going to gloss over this. Miami then tries to kick that field goal at the end of the first half, right? It's that 50-yard try. Your kicker's been so all year, especially on the long attempts. And you bring out the kicker in that situation on 4th and 2 with 33 seconds left and timeouts in your pocket, which I'm thinking if you're going to go for it on your own 37 on 4th and 1, why don't you go for it there on 4th and 2 instead of settling for a long field goal? That's like, I understand you want to get points on the board, have some confidence going into half. You don't want to be shut out. But if you miss it, you're in a really, really tough spot, man. And like you said, I mean, they go into halftime, you miss that field goal, you go into halftime trailing 10-0. It's like, all right, it's looking, like I said, like it's looking bleak. And, you come out in the second half, you get that stop, and then the Mark Fletcher 62-yard touchdown run or whatever it was. Explosion. I mean, a great block by CJ Daniels, by the way, on the outside, sprung that. Fletcher wasn't touched, and Daniels threw a really key block there and kind of sprung him loose. That was a gigantic play in the game for Miami because they had, nothing going all night. They had 69 yards of offense in the first half. Nice. But that was the lowest total in playoff history for a first half. Like they had nothing. And I think they had going into that drive where they were able to pick up like 30, 40 yards and try to kick that long field goal. I think it was like 36 or 37 yards of total offense to that point. I mean, they had nothing going on all night to that point, which is why I think Mario deserves some credit for going for it on just from a game management situation. We've loved to kill Mario, and he's given us plenty of content, plenty of ammunition to do so. But I thought in this playoff overall, he coached like a guy who had learned from past mistakes. They hired a clock guy, right? Like Cam brought that up when we were talking to him. When Miami punched their ticket to title game, like he hired a clock guy, like a game management like analyst or whatever they're calling him. And ultimately, I think you saw that pay off in this playoff run, because I thought more often than not, I thought Cristobal was making the right decisions. I didn't think kicking that long field goal was a correct decision, though. And I think that that ended up looming a little large, but there were some bigger mistakes in this game than settling for that field goal, certainly.
Yeah, I would agree with that. To your point, Mike, they come out after halftime. They get a stop. Indiana, I think, got a first down, but then Miami pretty quickly gets off the field after that. Yeah, the explosive touchdown run by Mark Fletcher. Another punt from Indiana, 3-and-out for Miami, a 3-and-out for Indiana. And then Miami is backed up on their own end of the field, goes to punt. Indiana blocks a punt and falls on it in the end zone for a touchdown. And then that was the point, Mike, where I basically looked at my wife and said, game's over. Like, curtains, that stuff's going to start happening. I mean, you could just do the simple, how often does a team give up a special teams touchdown and win a game math at that point, which is very unusual. But also just, okay, yes, they had the one long Mark Fletcher run, but let's take all the other snaps they've had in this game so far, and they've done almost nothing with it. Like Fletcher had more than half of the team's yards, I think, on that one play, basically through 3 quarters at that point, or really through, I guess, 40 minutes it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was over at that point. And from there, Miami scores touchdowns on their next 2 drives, on drives that combined for 18 plays, 172 yards, and 7.5 minutes of possession. Like, I was with you. I could not believe how effectively they pulled it all together in the fourth quarter. I felt like Carson Beck was really having a brutal game for a lot of it.
Yeah.
And then had some really good moments on those 2 drives. He showed some patience. Like, it felt like for a lot of it, he felt like he was sped up, and yet it wasn't like Indiana was sending a ton of pressure at him, but he really settled in those final 2 drives. He was patient. He waited for things to come open. He was able to evade the pass rush, to extend plays, that kind of thing. And Miami just not going away.
Yeah.
Indiana, in between those drives, had a 12-play, 75-yard touchdown drive with a couple of pretty ridiculous plays in there as well, including the what's going to be the legendary, memorable Mendoza QB draw on 4th and 5. And wild play. Insane.
Ballsy to go for it there, too. I mean, Cignetti's like, I mean, we're pulling out all the stops. Like, we're going to go for it here. We're going to go for it on 4th and 5 earlier on that drive, hit Becker on the back shoulder fade, which is one of, several contested catches he made, like we mentioned. So, I mean, that multiple 4th down conversions on that drive where Mendoza scores.
Yep. And then after the touchdown, Miami makes it 24-21, and you got about 6.5 minutes left. They're kicking off back to Indiana. Feels like Miami has all the momentum at that point. It feels that way, even though Indiana had just scored a touchdown. But Indiana has an excellent drive, 11 plays, 57 yards, almost 5 minutes. They got close to killing the clock. They needed one more first down to really put it to bed. They get down inside the red zone. I thought that there was some. I agree with you. I want to start by saying this. I felt like Mario managed games very well here in the playoff. Any concerns or any issues that I raise are relative, minor, like ticky-tack kind of things. But I didn't fully understand the timeout usage. I kind of thought they should have used one before the 2-minute timeout. That you could have saved a little bit more time. So I didn't fully understand that they waited as long as they did to let the clock run down before they started using them. But anyways, Indiana gets down. They have a 2nd and 1 in the red zone, get a false start that backs them up to 2nd and 6. Miami gets a couple stops from there. They force the field goal, and now it's a 6-point game.
Why did Cignetti kick there?
So we were talking. This is something we kind of talked about a little bit in the Discord. I think if I'm Signetti, I'm kicking that field goal. Number one, was there also a fourth down conversion on that drive? No, there wasn't. If I'm Signetti, I'm kicking that field goal because obviously now it forces Miami to get all the way into the end zone to beat you, which they have done on the prior two drives. And it avoids overtime. So a field goal no longer sends it to overtime. But as I was thinking about it, I also had a bit of a sense of like, if you're if you get this out to it's a 6-point lead, it's more than 3, and it's not even an option for Miami to kick the field goal on a fourth down.
Right?
Is that really where you want them? Like, wouldn't you almost kind of feel better if it's only a 3-point lead and Miami's got 4th and 3 in the red zone or something? Like,
so that's kind of where I'm at, because the way I look at it, the reason why I was praising Mario Cristobal for going for it late in the first half was because he had an idea of how the game script was playing to that point in time. He goes, my defense is exhausted. We've gotten nothing going on offense. We got to get this unit some confidence somewhere before halftime. Like we gotta pick up a first down, like we haven't sustained a drive all night, right? He had a sense of the game script. If I'm Signetti, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this Miami offense that has gone up the field on my defense that has been pretty good all night, but then all of a sudden is showing signs of like wear and tear a little bit. Miami's going up the field a couple times now to score touchdowns, and did it quickly, by the way. Like after that Mendoza touchdown run, Miami went right up the field. Like very impressive drive, like wasted no time. I mean, like you said, Beck made some big time throws there, and they are able to score and get that thing back to a 3-point game again. And if I'm Signetti, I'm thinking, I have 4th and 4. My Heisman Trophy winning quarterback is under center, and he's been making plays all night. Why don't we just go win the national championship right now?
So if they get a first down there, the game's over.
Right. And to your point, like, wouldn't you rather be in that spot? Like, okay, I didn't extend it to 6, but like if they score a touchdown on the other end, right? If they score a touchdown on the other end and kick the extra point, you're losing anyway. You're going to lose anyway, right?
Right.
So at that point, it's almost like you got to rely on your defense to get a stop. Yes, it's only 3 points for Miami, and they were on the fringes of field goal range. It does change things a little bit. It ended up being the decision that worked out, but I was surprised.
Yeah. I think I don't really know what I don't know, Game on Paper or one of the other, fourth down decision bots out there, like what they would say. Feels like kind of a toss up, what do you do on 16 at the blackjack table kind of situation, right? Like just play it the way that you would always play it. Either hit every time or stay every time. And it's something like this, like either just know that you're going to kick the field goal and take a 6-point lead, or go for it and let's be legends. I don't know. So Indiana kicks the field goal. They go up 6. Miami gets the ball back. And I mean, I saw that there was a little bit of joking that we started with a delay of game to start the drive, which yikes. Not good in that situation. Now, Mario, I saw him on the sideline kind of yelling about resetting the game or the play clock.
Screaming at the official. Yeah, he's screaming at the official.
I don't think that Mario thought that the officials did anything right all night long. Like every penalty, every call felt like he was just like, didn't even have a fuse. Just, he had to hear a magic word and he was gone.
Well, I mean, that's one thing him and Signetti can agree on, because Signetti didn't think the officials did anything right all night either. So I think they were both cut from the same cloth in that regard.
Well, and then second play. So first play, got an incomplete pass that it was nearly a sack. Carson Beck did a good job evading the rush. Got a pass off just the very last second that fell incomplete. Second down, incomplete pass, but then Indiana gets a roughing the passer penalty on Beck, which the problem that I had with that was that you didn't call it at all several times when worse hits I thought happened in the first half to Mendoza.
Yeah.
And you called it in this moment, in the final 2 minutes of the game. It was about to be 3rd and 15, and you just gave an automatic first down because of something that you didn't call in the first half, basically. I thought that was a little bit shady from the officiating standpoint. I digress. Miami gets moving a little bit, and then obviously the game-ending interception that was thrown. That was, I didn't really realize it watching it live, but when they went to the replay showing the behind the quarterback view and showing the safety, the safety rotates over here and Beck doesn't see him. It wasn't the safety that made the interception, Kirk, but that ball was badly underthrown.
Yeah,
by Carson Beck. I mean, if that's thrown on target, it's probably a touchdown. Honestly, like he's got. I forget was it Daniels or who it was over the top. That's like it was there.
Yeah,
it was there if he could get the ball there, and he just couldn't. And
Mario said post game there was some miscommunication. So I don't know if he's protecting his quarterback there or if somebody ran the wrong route or what. But he said there was some miscommunication on the final play. What that means, I don't know.
Yeah.
From what we all saw, it looked like it was just badly underthrown.
Yeah.
And so I don't ultimately like you can't force the ball in that situation. And I thought Beck had another good night in terms of not really forcing it into harm's way very often. Like receivers were well covered in the first half, right? There were a lot of incompletions, batted balls, like that sort of thing. There weren't a lot of passes where you're like, oh my God, that pass should have been picked off. It was just like, okay, nobody was open. You threw it to a receiver that was well covered, got knocked away. It is what it is. Like, tip your cap. I thought where he was making mistakes, and you pointed this out in the Discord, I totally agreed with you. We're mentioning the Discord a lot because everybody should join the Discord for this. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be great next year because there are going to be games every week, a million eyes on televisions where Joey and I have kids and we get busy for certain windows on Saturday afternoons. Very helpful.
You guys want a direct line to ask us why we're not recording in the offseason? Right there, yeah. Discord. Links in the description.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You can harass us, right? You can harass us if we're not recording as much as you want. You just get in touch with us that way. The point that you made that I agreed with you on was it seemed like Beck, especially in the first half, had kind of happy feet in the pocket where he didn't necessarily have to. Like, I thought Miami's offensive line, while they weren't having success in the running game, I thought they were protecting Beck okay in the first half. Like, it wasn't a situation where they were getting overwhelmed with Indiana's pass rush. Indiana was dropping 7-8 guys in coverage pretty consistently in the first half, and they were daring Beck to make plays. And they were relying on their front, right, and Aiden Fisher, linebacker, who's just a human eraser, to make sure that Fletcher didn't break off any huge runs. And I thought they did a pretty good job with Fletcher the entire first half, and it made life really difficult on Carson Beck. Nothing was open. And Shannon Dawson, to his credit, like, I thought they made some adjustments. I thought they had some really nice play designs in the second half to get Malachi Toney in space, to get Fletcher in space. The second touchdown run by Fletcher was a beautiful, the fake toss to counter. He walked in untouched. Indiana had no idea how to defend it. I mean, it was out of a timeout. Everything about it was going into fourth quarter, I think. Everything about it was perfect. Yeah, perfect play call. Indiana wasn't ready for it. They were completely fooled. Yeah, it was great. So I thought Dawson really adjusted well and had some. I thought his play calling overall tonight was fine. Right. I think Miami fans will be critical of the first half, but Indiana, you got to give them credit at some point for just playing really good defense. I think if you're kind of just 30,000 foot view Miami fan, I think the mistakes that you're really going to be upset about are, number one, the Ruben Bain offsides penalty in the first half that led to Indiana's first touchdown. It was 3rd and 13. Mendoza didn't know he had it. Kirk Herbstreit called this out on the broadcast. I think he's around the money. Mendoza didn't know that he had a free play there. Like, he's forcing it high over them. He's not taking a shot deep down the field. He's forcing it high over the middle on like a 7-yard in route. Like, he has no idea he had a free play there. Bain jumps off sides. Now you have 3rd and 5, and then they called a draw play with, I think, Kalon Black had a nice run after that. Indiana goes down and scores a touchdown. So you're extending a drive off a very crucial penalty. I talked about the Cristobal decision, right, to kick a long field goal into half. That's more minor. The punt block that you mentioned earlier, where we all thought the game was over, that was a gigantic play in the game. Like,
cannot have that in the national title game, dude.
Especially when you have 3 back, it's like a max protect on the punt too, and it's Michael Kamara, by the way, who's one of Indiana's best defensive players, goes in untouched to block the punt. I mean, they kind of like stuck an arm out at him, but he just ran right by him and then blocked the punt. It
Yeah.
was like, what are they do? What are they doing? They have their max protect on the punt, and they didn't touch him.
I was gonna say the shield there, the three guys, the guy on the right, I don't know who it was. It was the guy that Kamara ran right past, and I think he went inside to block someone, and it was like the center blocker blocked that guy too. Like, so you basically, I don't know if it was a miscommunication or what, but it's like the blocker that just totally whiffed on him. Like, you can't let that guy get around you in that moment.
Yeah,
that was a huge whiff for Miami there.
Yeah. So I mean, that was a tough one. I mean, I just thought they had those two plays. Obviously, the Beck interception at the end. I'm actually reading a quote right now from Pete Thamel. He's in the Miami locker room. It was to Keenan Marion, by the way, Keelan Marion. He said he had tears in his eyes, didn't know that Beck threw the ball. He said he just didn't look back at it, and he was taking like shouldering blame for it. So Mario said it was miscommunication. Looked like Beck underthrew it. And now you have Marion saying it was his fault. They wasn't looking for it. So I don't know if he ran the wrong route or what, but he's like apparently devastated in the locker room. So that's a mess.
Yeah.
Just mistakes you can't. I mean, ultimately, right? Like multiple mistakes that piled up that you can't make in the national title game. And you needed, like, I understand, like, that's Marion's going to feel really bad about it. Beck obviously is going to feel bad that his career ended that way. But ultimately, you're in this spot down 6 because there were some moments earlier in the game where you also screwed up, right? It's not just like one play defining the entire game. You were still up against it from a clock. You had no timeouts left. You're up against it from a clock standpoint. You're heaving and hoping they're late. I mean, you just crossed midfield, it's like 30 seconds left. You need a chunk play. Like, you can't have that mistake in that situation, but there were some things that led to that, right? To put you in that spot. But despite all of it, you still had an opportunity to win. So it's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. I still thought, I think I said this, but in case I didn't, I really thought when Miami gets the ball back with 1:40 to go, even with no timeouts, but down 6, and they'd scored touchdowns in their prior 2 drives, I just thought, I feel like I know what I'm about to watch.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm about to watch Miami go punch it in, win the national title, that whole thing. And for it to just kind of implode the way that it did, I do not envy Cam. I do not envy the Weasler, any of our Miami fans and listeners to this show. Like, this is going to be a tough one to sit with. And, to realize you were that close. And again, and to your point, Mike, I think you nailed it, saying the number of opportunities that were missed, or the number of moments that, were just mistakes that you wish you had back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that will keep you from sleeping tonight, is realizing, if only we hadn't given them an extra chance. How did we let them block that field goal, or block that punt? We missed that field goal. That's a 10-point swing in a game you lost by 6. And
right.
It's not that simple, but there were things there where for a decent amount of the game, I almost felt like you could argue that Miami was the better team, or, if they played this game 10 times, I don't know that Indiana's winning, more than 5 or 6 of them, right? Like, I feel like Miami was very capable and gave Indiana a lot of problems in the trenches on both sides, kind of the way we thought they might. And, it sucks that the game played out the way that it did. Obviously huge credit and good thing for Miami for getting here, but yeah, just, if I'm a Miami fan right now, I'm probably feeling like we let one get away. And when it's the national title game, I mean, just ouch.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I ultimately, like, the best team in college football all season long won the national title. Like, this is the second year in a row where I look at, I'm like, I'm pretty confident. I just watched the best team in the sport win the national title. So it's like the second year in a row that's happened. Generally, it happens that way, but not always. But Indiana had been the best team in college football all year, and they won the national title without their best stuff tonight. I don't think Indiana played their best game, to your point. Like Miami, I think Miami should feel like they let one slip away because Miami didn't play their best game either. And I think if you had a situation where it's funny because we talked about it in the preview, right? An under game was probably going to favor Miami. But this game got over the total, and Miami had the ball less than 2 minutes to go with an opportunity to win the game.
Yeah.
And the other part of it, too, is like Miami had several opportunities, especially in the second half, that they found offensively. And I thought it was multiple situations where it's because we have athletes that we think are better in space. Like the Mark Fletcher run, multiple plays by Malachi Toney. He had a few big time chunk plays in the second half where it was like, there were a few moments where it was like, no disrespect to Indiana's defensive backs, like D'Angelo Ponce is an unbelievable player, but there were like some points in the second half where I was like, you can tell who has the 4 and the 5 stars, right? You could tell the other, Indiana won the national title. There's no disrespect, right? But it's like, the further this game goes and the closer it is, I feel like I want the team with all the 4 and 5 stars on it,
Sure.
Because those guys,
who can really make the game-breaking plays.
Because those guys were starting to make the plays in space. Yeah, the game-breaking plays. And the better coach team won.
Yeah.
They're better. I mean, the job that Cignetti's done at Indiana is he's 27-2 in 2 years. It's unbelievable. He took over the losingest program in the history of college football. Like I don't think people need to understand what kind of turnaround this is, and it should show a lot of schools. Like if you invest and you have the right coach, you can win in this era, man. Like anything, if you can win a national title at Indiana, I know they're a Big Ten program and like things are different now with television money and everything else. If you can win a Big Ten title and a national title at Indiana, you can win a national title almost anywhere where you have the right investment, the right coach.
Yep.
This is proof of it. Now, Cignetti said after the game too, we have people on site for SI. He said after the game that we don't have that much money in NIL, right? Which is almost like a nod to like,
okay,
hey, wait, which is like, if they get some money and start recruiting, watch out, sort of thing. They're really well coached. Like that's the bottom line. The better coach team won. Yeah. They were and they were the best team in college football all year. And I think Miami, which one more thing, Joey, before I give you the floor again, you mentioned on the preview that you thought that there might be some moments in this game where it might not necessarily show up as like a game management, clock management type thing, but maybe we're in a situation where the better coach team is going to make some plays and it's going to show up on the biggest stage, right? Which team is not quite as well coached. I thought Mario did a great job this year, but Cignetti, the block punt especially, like those are the attention to details with some of the plays in this game end up looming extremely large here. Here. So
do you remember what happened immediately before the play that Beck threw that interception to end the game?
No.
Miami had just converted another first down, was trying to go fast, and Cignetti called a timeout. He called his last timeout.
Yes, he did. Yep.
He called his last timeout with about 40 seconds left or so as Miami is rolling down the field. Defense seemed like it was maybe getting a little bit winded, seemed like it was getting a little bit confused, trying to keep up with the tempo and trying to make sure they knew what the calls were. He called timeout, got everyone settled, got everyone in a play, and sure, were there miscommunications? Yes, perhaps, all that. But one play later, they got the game-ending play, basically. So worthwhile. I want to call. We got a bunch of people in the chat in the comments here.
Yeah.
Tim Hayes has been in there in particular, and first of all, he makes a great point. If the third place ACC team almost won the national title, just imagine what the ACC champion would have done. And between that and a couple of other comments, I'm pretty sure, and I think he's been in the comments before, but Tim, I'm pretty sure you're a Duke fan, and I sense that Duke in particular is more than happy watching the demise of Miami right now.
Gonna say, yeah.
Given the last, few days of how things have been going, Duke might be looking for a quarterback now, thanks to some hypothetical, supposed tampering level activities from a certain ACC university in South Florida. Who knows? We'll get to that in another episode. So wanted to mention that.
Is Darian Mensah an upgrade over Carson Beck? Do we want to start this 35 minutes into our national championship recap? Totally hypothetical, of course. Totally hypothetical.
Yeah. We'll get to that. A lot of people in the chat. Really appreciate the people being here. The Weasler points out never got to see Damari Brown play a snap in the college football playoff. Yeah, he was unable to go. Did get pretty much a full game of OJ Federico though, which was a little bit surprising. I thought he was pretty effective too for being banged up as he was in Miami's secondary. Yep. We talked about that. I didn't feel like Miami's secondary being depleted played a role in this game at all, the way that we talked about it on the preview. So shout out to them for figuring it out. I did feel like they, to that point, I'll say this a little bit. I felt like Miami changed their defensive game plan at halftime. And to the point that,
I was gonna bring that up too.
Well, to the point that they might have planned on that the whole time, almost they were being a lot more aggressive in the first half. We mentioned some of the hits on Fernando Mendoza that they were clearly just trying to take shots at him, got him rattled. I think it worked, for the record. He was not nearly as good as he has been the rest of the playoffs tonight. But I felt like in the second half, they were more willing to sit back and they let the big dogs up front eat. And as you mentioned earlier, Mike, those guys were getting home and continuing to make Mendoza uncomfortable without sending 5, 6, 7 guys at a time at him.
Yeah, well, I think one thing that really helps, you got Xavier Lucas back after halftime. So he comes back into the game after committing a targeting penalty in the semifinal, couldn't play the first half. Dumbest rule in college football is the targeting stuff. Don't even, whatever.
We have opinions.
Yeah, we have opinions on that. But Xavier Lucas comes into the game, and Herbstreit pointed this out too. Comes into the game, and the very first play from scrimmage, Miami's in press coverage. They were playing 5 and 6 yards off of all of Indiana's receivers all night. Now Xavier Lucas is back. You're comfortable with one side of your field now that you weren't as comfortable with in the first half. Now you have one of your starting defensive backs back in the game, and you're going to go immediately to press coverage. And then I think that's why I don't think it was any coincidence as to why Miami's defensive ends, Bain and Mesidor, had a lot more success in the second half because they were more comfortable with the coverage behind them, right? Heatherman just said, we're going to get more aggressive up front with what we have in our secondary now in the second half. So it was pretty clear. I think that was probably game plan related, where you knew you weren't going to have Lucas. We're not going to be able to take the chances we want to take trying to get home on Mendoza in the pass rush. And Nick Saban pointed this out at halftime too. He's like, if they just let Mendoza sit back there, they got to get more aggressive in the second half with Lucas back in the game. Because if they don't, Mendoza's just going to pick him apart. And he was right. I mean, they needed to get pressure on him, and I thought they did a pretty good job of that in the second half.
Yep. Well, and to that point as well, not only were they up pressing receivers, which, by the way, Indiana was running a lot of RPO stuff in the first half that was working really well. Much, much harder to run RPO stuff when your receivers are being jammed and being played right at the line like that. Number one. Yeah. Number two, Miami's defense and the secondary especially were very handsy for a lot of the night.
Yes.
With Indiana's receivers especially. I thought there was probably some of it going the other direction too for Indiana's secondary with Miami's receivers, but I was noticing it. I mean, how many replays did they show where it's jerseys are being tugged, and there were a number of times I was like, and I put this in the Discord. It's I'm just waiting for a third down where it'll be converted, not because anyone caught the ball, but because Miami's going to get called for holding, on defense. Because, I mean, just they're playing with fire. I almost couldn't believe that it never really got called for most of the game. So, but they were playing aggressively. They made Indiana uncomfortable, and that really kind of opened the window for them to work their way back into this game. So, I thought it was a good game plan from Corey Heatherman and that defense. And again, you could tell that Indiana was a little bit, playing a little bit left-handed here, trying to move the ball down the field with as much as Miami's defensive front was doing to disrupt them, in their offensive line and so forth.
Yeah.
Real good effort from Miami.
Yeah.
Again, I think if you play this game 10 times, Miami probably wins 4 or 5 of them. It was a really even matchup. Just kind of the way that things shake out wasn't their night. So I hate that for the Canes fans. And again, this is a tough one to sit with for them.
Yeah, I agree. They're going to be upset that this went down the way that it did, but Miami's going to be around. Like, I think Cristobal's made some good adjustments and to his coaching, and they're going to have players. They got players. They got the NIL. They're recruiting well. I mean, they're going to be around. If he coaches, especially if he coaches like this, right? If this is the version of Cristobal we get moving forward, they're going to be winning a lot more games than they're losing, I think. So,
yeah, I think they'll be fine. Did you see that Mark Fletcher apparently threw a punch at one of Indiana's players after the game?
Yeah, something happened there.
That's not good.
No. Hey,
right.
real quick, you're mentioning the Duke thing. Just for kicks, I have a question for you. What do you think the hypothetical national championship spread would have been if Indiana played against Duke? I got one. I think it would be like 29.5.
Yeah, with the way that they had rolled people, it's like I'm like, I don't know, 17. No, that's not big enough. 23.5. I don't know. Like, yeah, maybe like 23.5, something like that. What was the spread of that 2012 Alabama Notre Dame national title game?
A lot. It would have looked like that.
Or Georgia TCU there a couple years ago. That was Tim Hayes, Duke by 40. There you go. Clearly, all right. I'm sure there's more thoughts that I'll have on this game. Maybe we do a look back in our next episode. I think this is all I've got for right now, though, Mike. Anything else? Fresh on your mind?
No. We figured this would be a half hour, 45 minutes. Instant reaction. Miami showed well. I mean, left some stuff out there, but I mean, you lost by 6 to, you were an 8.5 point dog. You lost by 6. You left a couple plays out there. It is what it is.
Yeah. Last thing I will say, a thought that I had that I had not gotten out. We talked a little bit about some, play calling, game management stuff. First half, Miami, I thought that they got away from the run too quickly. They got a little bit too willing to drop back and throw the ball. And it's like, even if you're only getting 2 or 3 yards a carry, there is a certain cumulative effect that you need Mark Fletcher pounding the ball to create on Indiana's defense. I thought they should have stuck with it a little bit more than they did. Got a little bit pass happy pretty quickly. And even in a game where they're only it's like 3-0. I mean, it wasn't like they were chasing points or anything like that. So I didn't fully understand that. But again, as mentioned, I mean, I thought Shannon Dawson, especially in the fourth quarter, very much in his bag, had that thing rolling, and for the most part, no real issues here. So just wanted to mention that before fully closing out here.
Indiana linebacker Aiden Fisher. I just read a post on my neighborhood Facebook page. Apparently he went to the high school like 5 minutes up the street.
Oh, nice.
So
was he a James Madison transfer?
He was. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Makes a lot more sense that way. Ready to get out of here?
Yep. Congrats to the Hoosiers. First national title.
Congratulations to Indiana. Yeah. As you mentioned, Mike, this is basically Kurt Cignetti taking the Washington Generals to the NBA Finals. So shout out to him for pulling that one off. That's miracle work.
Way back machine.
Yeah. Really impressive stuff for Indiana.
Yeah. God.
Congrats to them. Congrats to Miami on a good season and a hell of a playoff run. I keep thinking to myself, how close were we to Miami not even being in the playoff? And to get as far as they did to have the ball inside of 2 minutes with a chance to go win the national title, then what a ride. So congrats to them. as mentioned, we'll get into the off season now. We got a lot of things we'll keep covering, so please keep it tuned here. Appreciate all the fine folks showing up. It has been a good season. This is season 10, I think, covering ACC football on the Basketball Conference podcast. So, shout out to the people that are here. Welcome to anyone new. YouTube.com/@the-ACC football podcast. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button. That would be much appreciated. We are going to get out of here. We're going to come back and hit some newsy items and kind of keep you covered through the off season. So keep it tuned here. Twitter.com, @FTRSJoey, @Mike McDaniel SI, together @BC Podcast ACC. Send us an email, basketballconferencepodcast@gmail.com.
Nailed it.
Thank you. iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, wherever you go find your podcast audio format, we are there. Please support our sponsors, section103.com, the internet's premier place for all things Georgia Tech and Clemson and Kennesaw State and LSU and South Florida and Georgia Southern apparel. Great hats just like this one, polos, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies. Go get it all, section103.com. Use promo code GOACC at checkout for 10% off your first order. Go to Roback, go to Home Field Apparel. Home Field having a hell of a day here. I saw Connor was on the pregame show on ESPN. Shout out to him.
Yeah. He's an extension of every college football podcast they're affiliates with. So it's like we were there.
This one is no exception. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like us. I mean, Cam was there. It's like we had boots on the ground.
That's right. That's right. Go support the fine people that sponsor the show. We would appreciate that, and they would as well. Mike, anything else before we get out of here?
Will Sikora said home field has 20 national championship items already. Man, they were in their bag, hoping that they could hit send on those. On those items for the website. So good for them.
Hey, Sig said they don't have enough NIL money. Connor's trying to get it for him.
Yeah, Connor's about to triple his net worth in the next 4 hours. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's having a good day, I would imagine.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all right, Mike, you want to come back and really promptly, I'm sure this will be really soon that we come back and hit on news and coaching changes and all that.
It'll probably be it'll probably be about a week. We're going to do news items and season awards is our plan.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
lots of coverage, lots of content still coming your way. So keep doing
here. Speaking of awards, was it Nuke Jacket? Who was it in the chat? Oh, Lee. No, it was Lee Nobody. It was Lee Nobody in the Discord. Scott had asked about Fernanda Mendoza's mother and her health, and Lee Nobody said that she had ALS, and I started laughing when I read that because she definitely does not have ALS. She has MS, which is still serious, but the prognosis is very different. So shout out Lee Nobody. That's the Go ACC moment of the week, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Glad she's okay.
Well, he redeemed himself later when he called the Carson Beck pick coming out of the out of the timeout. That was unbelievable. So
totally redeemed himself.
If you're not in the Discord, come join us. It's a good time. Yeah. We'd appreciate having you there.
Yep.
Mike, let's get out of here. Let's come back and do some more off-season content. How's that sound?
Let's do it.
All right. For that guy, Mr. Mike McDaniel, I am Joey Weaver. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will talk to you again very, very soon. Until next time, go ACC.